differently abled, differently. We're differently abled, differently.
Welcome back, and you're definitely watching Abled Differently. Esther and Peter Okumu live under the same roof, with their mode of communication being sign language, a skill that their children had to learn. Take a look at their story.
Wazazi wako haongei, hawasikii na wanazaa mtoto anaongea. Na Mungu ni wa ajabu. Naambia ni wa ajabu, sasa tafanyaje?
I became a celebrity by the way, my sister and I. Why? Because of sign language. So anytime during visiting day, my dad used to be the first person kwa gate. If I can remember, there were 2 parents and my dad was one of them. So kids will come and be like, hey, your dad is there, we can't wait to see you signing. I'm like, really, he's there? I'm like, yeah, okay. Then me and my sister, even teachers like they used to chungulia kwa dirisha like, hey, look at them.
I was born hearing, but when I became sick for a long time, for a period of 2 years, I became deaf. There was a time when I was playing in the village, and then when I fell down, something fell in my mouth, and when I was rushed to the hospital, I was told I could not talk and I could not hear. I was being told to talk, I was being tapped so that I can listen, but I could not hear. So I used to go to a hearing school. I could see children talking, but I couldn't even understand anything.
Okay. Time I was a little kid. I was born as a hearing person. At the age of 9, I was very sick. I was sick almost 1 month. I was not hearing anything. I waiting for hearing testing, and my parents were told that I'm deaf, and then I was being taken to a far school in Kisumu for learning. Then while learning primary, a special school, it was a special school. I was learning as a tailor.
With the majority of people around them communicating verbally, Esther and Peter have faced a lot of challenges when interacting with the hearing.
People used to look at me as so different. So when I ran to my grandmother and asked me, why are you not going to school? I'm not going to school because I've been taken to a hearing school. So I was told to go back to school. And when I rushed to school, I was not comfortable because every now and then people would want to talk, and I needed to sign. So later on, I was taken to Tumutumu school in primary. So when my grandmother heard that I could travel to Tumutumu, I was so happy that I could learn sign language. And when I got to Tumutumu primary school, I could see deaf children signing, and I could ask them, are you deaf? Yes, I'm deaf. And when we were interacting, they asked me, what is your sign name? Because that time I was about 2 years and a half.
I was challenged due to cooperation with people. 1994, there was no interpreters. We had to go and use handwriting, paper and a biro to write, to communicate with my colleagues, my people, my friends. That's when I got challenged.
They had met earlier in school, but destiny brought them together later. Esther and Peter are blessed with 4 children who have learned the art of signing, as it was the only mode of communication.
The time I got my firstborn, when I got my first son, I was told that my son needs to talk every now and then, but he used to desire signing. Every time I wanted to talk to him, he would sign so well. But when my mother was there, she insisted that it's important that he talks so that he can continue to interact with the hearing people.
With both parents working to ensure that they provide for the family, their children are grateful that they have never lacked.
I've seen them as normal parents in any situation because they have been able to give me the things that I really wanted, things that I requested. They have been loving and caring. And all I can say is that it has been an awesome journey. And may God bless them and keep them as they are, because I know they appreciate themselves, whom they are, and how they are going to be in the future. And also, may they sit and see the best that may come from us as their sons and daughters.
Both Esther and Peter have excelled in their fields of work.
Then later, I met another friend who also accommodated us at work, but he encouraged us that I can interact with my present boss, who is Esther Pasaris. And at that time, I was so impressed to meet her. And when we were communicating, the sign interpreter was there, but for Esther Pasaris, she didn't know any sign language. So she asked me, can you teach me sign language? I told her yes, but at this time, we can only write to one another. So that time, we used to print jackets for people or t-shirts. And so later, she saw me as a person who can work in her business.
Before I was given prizes. HOC for being respected for the sport. I've been honored. Again, I was being honored as a sports person, given medals.
With the challenges they have faced, Esther says that she is grateful that we now have very many sign interpreters, unlike before.
So, I experienced many challenges, especially when I will go to a bus station where I need to board a matatu, and they ask me, where are you going? And I am forced to write somewhere for the conductor to understand how much he will cost me, so that, and especially now we have COVID, you have a mask, and you are not able to see the mouth and ask, where are you going? Are you going to Kayole? So you really need to ask the conductor, remove your mask so that I can see your mouth where I am going. And that's an...
Previously, they have had to depend on their children to sign for them.
Huyu ananisubiri nikuje nimuinterprete kipindi fulani, na hiyo kipindi mimi siipendi, ni anibidi sasa mimi pia nichangie hapo. Sasa unapata saa zingine inakuwa pia ni kuvumilia tu, kwa sababu sina ubaya, sina nini, ni ile itabidi nimuelezee, kwa maana pia nataka kujua ni kitu gani kinafanyika.
Before we could have interpreters on TV, whenever there was a time for news at 7 or at 9, we used to have a challenge, because my sons and my daughters were the ones who would sign for me. Some things I could see for myself and understand, okay, there are things which are happening in our country, but I wouldn't get to have an in-depth information about what was happening. So that was a challenge, but my children came through as being interpreters in the house.
I used to like to sign in small like churches, like in groups, small ones. But now when I saw that, I was like, Then I asked my dad, is it the same sign language that they will understand? He told me, yeah, it's the same. But I told him, no, but I've seen American and here it's different. He said, but the ones are here, they understand the one sign language. I was like, okay. So I was signing. And before that, my dad was telling me, when you're signing upright, okay, face people, and your hand should be somewhere. So you're just doing the sign. I'm like, okay. And I did that day. I felt so good. I was like, yeah, that's me.
Jack says that apart from the news hour where interpreters are provided, other TV shows should also be considered.
Kuna hearing impaired wametamani kuelewa ni kitu gani kinafanyika kwa ma-series, kwa ma-soaps. Habari ndio ipo umeinterpreta, but kuna hizi mavipindi hizi za kuchekesha kina vitimbi, vioja. Wanaona watu wanacheka but hawaelewi ni kitu gani.
Let's take a look at the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities.
Article 25 of the UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities states that state parties shall, Part B, provide those health services needed by persons with disabilities, specifically because of their disabilities, including early identification and intervention as appropriate, and services designed to minimize and prevent further disabilities, including among children and older persons.
And here is the tip for the day.
We would desire that the police, the hospital, the church have access to interpreters so that whenever a deaf person will get into a hospital, they will tell them to hold on and get the service of an interpreter so that they will be able to interact with the deaf person and be directed to the consultation room and consult the doctor of where they are sick so that there may not be any misdiagnosis, and also for purpose of confidentiality. And also at that time when they will have such a service, the deaf person will be happy. And also the area of the police or the law enforcement, whenever there is a deaf person who wants to place a claim in the police station, if interpreter at any station, it will be easier for such a person to get their services and explain any complaints that they have at the police station, and also they will be able to explain the things that have been done against them, or maybe there is something they have observed and they want to be implemented.
At this point, we sadly have to say goodbye. But as always, we thank you so much for always tuning into KBC Channel 1 to watch more of Able Differently. Until next week, I've been your host, Jane Theory. Goodbye.
We are here and we are strong. Let's be counted as we move on. Make a difference, change lives as we tell our different stories. We are capable, beautiful. We are born to do great things. We're unstoppable, incredible, 'cause we're differently abled, differently.